Hello and welcome to episode number 116 of Week in Review. My name is Sean, and on this week's show we're talking about Final Fantasy VII Remake. We're going to try some brand new Mountain Dew. I'll tell you about this week's new releases and the streams happening over on twitch.tv/SeanOsaurusRex. But let's go ahead and start with Mountain Dew's brand new Frostbite flavor available exclusively at Walmart. Believe me, I'm going to need it because Final Fantasy VII sure did put me to sleep. So let's get a little caffeine in me before we start talking about a video game. Like I said, Frostbite available exclusively at Walmart right now. I was lucky that someone found it. My dad sent me a text message yesterday that was like, hey, happy Easter, and it was just a 6-pack of these. So broke one out, put it in the fridge, and I'm ready to try it here for your enjoyment. I will say that my favorite thing about the Mountain Dew Frostbite is that 2 separate people in 2 separate Twitch streams told me about it, which means that I'm doing my influencing correctly. If I just get a barrage of tweets about Mountain Dew flavors and bus simulator games on Xbox One and PlayStation 4, I've done my job. Okay? Feeling good. But I was very happy about that. So we'll give this a quick try. So far, all the people that have told me about this have liked it. But I haven't had it yet, so I figured I would do it on the show, because that's what this show is. Random stuff. So we'll crack it open here. So we'll take a smell of it. I don't know what this is supposed to be. It doesn't have any flavor. It's just naturally and artificially flavored dew. There's a shark on it. But it doesn't smell like anything. Okay. Alright, I guess we'll just try it now, I guess. What? What? This doesn't taste like anything. I don't know. I don't know what this is. It's not bad. It is certainly not good. It is unremarkable. It is unflavored. What? What the hell is this? Alright, here we go. 3rd time's a charm. That's what they say, right? I don't know. I don't get it. Okay, well, there you go. There's Frostbite Mountain Dew. It is a liquid that you can drink, but I don't know what you're supposed to taste out of it. It doesn't make any sense. Weird. This is the most bizarre Mountain Dew flavor I have ever had in my life. There's just nothing here. It looks like it would be like a hard blue raspberry or something, but it's not. It's just a thing. An unflavored thing that has a pretty color to it. Bizarre. So there you go. You can get this at Walmart, should you so choose. But maybe you don't. I don't know. Mountain Dew. Sponsor me. Now that I'm all caffeinated up, I can tell you that I don't like Final Fantasy VII Remake. It is a game that I just am not enjoying. I've put a dozen hours or so into it, and it's just not clicking with me. Just a little bit of background or behind the scenes information. This episode was going to be structured a little bit differently originally. I bought a copy of Final Fantasy VII for the PlayStation 1, which I have somewhere right here. I bought it. I have it. It's this cool 3-disc set. It's really awesome. I was going to play the Midgar section of it, which actually isn't very long in this game. It's only like 6 to 7 hours from what I've read online. I was going to play that, compare it, contrast it with the new game, and have that be the episode. Unfortunately, I had quite a miserable time playing this game, mainly due to a faulty memory card for the PlayStation 1. This right here doesn't save data. So I played 45 minutes of it, and then I died, and then it was like, oh, you want to load your save data? And I went, oh, I sure did save this game, I'm pretty sure. And then it didn't have any data. So that was very exciting. What ended up happening is I went in and bought the Xbox One remaster of the game. Remaster in air quotes. It pretty much seems like it just took the original backgrounds of the PlayStation 1 game and then cleaned up the textures on the polygonal models It looks a little weird. I actually prefer the way the PlayStation 1 version looks because it just feels more cohesive, even if it doesn't look quite as crisp and nice. I played the Xbox One version of the game for about 2.5 hours. I made it to Wall Market, where I encountered what I'm assuming is a glitch where I could not get a specific character to say a specific sentence to move on to the next part of it, so it just kind of like was soft locked on me and I couldn't move. So I was like, okay, well, I guess I don't get to complete anything with this game. Cool. And that really sucked because it's not that it's necessarily a bad game. I just had a pretty miserable experience with it. Though the PlayStation 1 memory card issue wasn't Square's fault. That was my own fault for not double checking. And to put salt in the wound of this Final Fantasy VII story, turns out I remember that I bought a PlayStation 1 Classic that has the original version of Final Fantasy VII, which means I don't need this memory card, which means that all of my problems could have been alleviated if I had just remembered that I spent $20 on a PlayStation Classic back in December. So I didn't get to do the episode exactly the way I wanted it to, but that's totally fine. But back to Final Fantasy VII Remake. It basically boils down to two pretty big reasons why I don't enjoy Final Fantasy VII Remake. I don't like the characters, and I'm not super interested in the story, and I think the combat is really bad. I don't like Cloud. Cloud is the main character. You play as, you have party members that switch in and out, but Cloud is your main protagonist. And he's just really boring and whiny. He is a character that's supposed to be that really tough exterior, but actually has a soft side inside of him. He just doesn't ever let it show. And if my idea of what his character arc would be throughout the game is true, it's taking way too long to get there. Basically, the story is you're working as an ex-soldier, and don't worry, Cloud will tell you that a lot, because he really boils it down to, I'm ex-soldier, and I'm only doing this if the money's good, and I'm like, you gotta shut the hell up, I don't care, just shut up, we get it, just go away, finish your mission, and leave, I don't care, I don't want you here anymore, you're annoying. He's working with Avalanche. They are trying to take down a corporation that is basically sucking the life source of the earth out, so if they take too much of it, the world will die, and obviously everyone on it will die. It did take me a little bit to figure out why this game wasn't clicking with me when I had played the original, and I ever wasn't that opposed to Cloud. But I think I finally did figure it out, and it's the fact that this game is taking a lot longer to get to certain plot points than the previous game did, or the original game did. I played for 2.5 hours and I made it to the market, or Wall Market. I can't ever keep it straight because I always want to say Walmart, but that's not it. They don't go to a Walmart, they go to Wall Market. Anyway, getting to Wall Market in the original takes about 2.5 hours. I have played Final Fantasy VII Remake for 12 hours and I have not gotten to that same point in this game. And what that means is it means that I'm spending a ton more time with this character who doesn't care and doesn't want to do it, and I'll do it if the money's right. And it's really grating and really, really annoying. It's kind of interesting because Barrett and Cloud to me register as very similar characters, only Barrett seems to have more breaks in his character where maybe he does have a tough exterior, but it's more contextualized to, I'm on a mission and I need to keep my focus. I don't want anything distracting me from what I am trying to do right now. When he gets back to Sector 7 and they get back to the Lucky 7 or whatever it's called, and he does have that moment where he's talking to his daughter, he lets his guard down. And there is that moment of like, okay, I see the duality of you. I see why you are one way versus the other. I get that and I understand that. With Cloud, he's just a fucking whiny annoyance. And the story's not making his transition fast enough from like kind of annoying to good-hearted person. Like there's a part where you go as a side quest and you are helping a little girl find her kitties, and Cloud's like, oh, I don't want to do this. I'm like, what? It's a little girl with her cats. This is the easiest thing in the world to like care about for 2 seconds. Like, I don't understand why this is such a problem for you. It doesn't help that some of the writing is really bad. It varies from like really cheesy to bad like one-liners to over tutorialization of like, this game constantly makes sure you know exactly what's going on and where you need to go. And it also seems confused at who it's written for, because there's one part where Tifa and Cloud are having an exchange, and Tifa's like, okay, I know we owe you 2,000 gil, but I only have 500. And Cloud goes, that means you owe me 1,500 gil. And I sat there during the stream and I just went, no fucking shit. 2000 minus 500 is 1500. And I was so annoyed with how it was written, and it's just clunky and weird, and I don't like it. Speaking of things that are clunky and weird in this game, the combat sucks, and I don't like it at all. On the first day that I played, I found the combat to be slow, clunky, and the encounters took way too long, and I just never felt like I was having any sort of fun. It's weird because I'm actually glad that I stuck with it, even though I don't really like the game all that much, because at least in my head, I feel like I understand the combat more. The second day I went back in, understanding that it is a little bit slower, and started to balance out a little bit more between melee attacks and using spells and trying to use one of the materias, which basically just gives you like upgrades to your weapons, using the assess materia to figure out enemies and their weaknesses and their hit points and stuff like that. And I started to get it a little bit more and understand, like, okay, you need to switch between characters and bounce around between them. Basically, I ended up boiling it down to, like, you have to run in, mash square to boost your little timer so you can do specific moves. I think it's called your, like, attack timer battle, whatever the hell it's called. It was the one thing that I didn't like in the original Final Fantasy VII because it led to a bunch of times where characters were just standing there, like moving around, kind of waiting for that meter to grow all the way so that then the next turn could commence, and it just was super weird. I like it even less in this game because that you are required to have that full so that you can actually do something that's not just mashing the square button. Once that meter was finally full, I bounce out, try to throw either like a spell or a potion to try and help either a spell to heal or hit a weakness, or an item to use for healing, and then basically cross my fingers and hope that an attack didn't come in that not only took away the action that I was trying to do, but left your meter empty, which was super frustrating because there would often be times where I was trying to cast a spell to regenerate health for one of my party members, or use a potion for one of my party members, and then I'd have to run in, hope that I didn't die, mash the square button a bunch, and then do the same thing kind of over and over again. I just found it really boring. It doesn't help that there is a nearly useless dodge button and a block mechanic that I was super infuriated by. It feels like a game that wants to play faster than it does actually play. It seems like the block button should be more effective or more usable. Like, it seemed like if you missed your first opportunity to block something, subsequently you couldn't just hit that R1 button to get it back in. It's just very slow to get that animation through, or they just get kicked into a different animation that negates anything that you're trying to press. The dodge button's even worse because I feel like it should be way more effective if I'm dodging out of like a rocket barrage. Instead of getting hit 4 times, you just get hit 3 times, and I was just super annoyed with it. It's a game that has 2 really big flaws to it. I don't like Cloud. I think he's really boring and he sucks. And the combat isn't fun, interesting, or engaging. And so it's not a game that I necessarily feel is a bad game. It's just a game that doesn't click with me. And unfortunately, that means that this is 2 games in a row that I've been really excited for and like genuinely interested in that just haven't panned out. And that's too bad. The weird thing about reviewing Final Fantasy VII Remake, or talking about it, giving first impressions opinion, however you would like to qualify this, is I don't really know who this is for, because it feels like you're either in on Final Fantasy VII Remake or you don't care, and I don't really know what this would do to push you one way or the other. But if maybe you like the show or you like me and you want to hear my thought process, I guess that is also a valid reason to post something like this. But I don't know. It's just, it's not great. I didn't have fun with it, even though I am glad that I stuck with it and understood a little bit more what the game was going for, and really kind of hammering home why I didn't like the game. It's just something that's it's not for me. Finally, on this week's show, we'll take a look at this week's new releases. There's nothing in theaters. Underwater and Just Mercy are out on Blu-ray. I would recommend checking out Just Mercy. It's a very good movie. Underwater is weird. I saw it, but I never reviewed it on the show. They made the decision to start that movie with the like big event of things going wrong in this underwater facility that they're all staying in. While it sounds like a good idea at first, it makes it feel like there's 45 minutes of a movie that's just missing. They just never shot. It's really weird. And the problem is that the preceding like series of events requires you to care about the characters, but since you never get any sort of establishing moments with them, they kind of just leave and you're like, Okay, whatever. Not that big of a deal. It also feels kind of weirdly like a video game in some spots. Like you can see like the clear points where it's like, oh, you're getting your new upgrade so that you can take on this new challenge. It's a really weird movie. It's not necessarily bad. It just feels incomplete and is bizarre. But Just Mercy's great. It's one of the best movies of the year. As far as the games are concerned, there's one full game coming out this week that I wanted to bring to your attention. Out on Switch and on PC is a game called A Fold Apart. It's a puzzle game that talks about long distance relationships, and I'm excited to try that out on Friday. Journey to the Savage Planet and Bus Sim are also getting DLC. I'm obviously very excited for the Bus Sim DLC. It's the airport DLC. It's been out for a while on PC, but now it's coming to consoles, and that will be the large majority of what the streams will be this week. I'll be checking out the Bus Sim DLC, the airport DLC, on Tuesday night. According to the Steam page for that particular piece of content, it says that there are 9 new missions, and in parentheses, it's like approximately 10 hours of gameplay, which is a lot more than I would have anticipated that it would be. I would have guessed it would have been about half that. 5-6 missions, maybe like 4 to 5 hours of gameplay, somewhere in there. But the 9 missions, 10 hours of gameplay sounds great to me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to check that out on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Saturday. And I'll probably break it up to where it's 3 missions in each part and just kind of soak in some new Bus Sim content. Thursday will be a doubleheader of Mariners baseball in the franchise mode of MLB The Show 20. Friday will be A Fold Apart. Saturday will be a little bit of a smorgasbord stream in addition to the aforementioned Bus Sim Airport DLC. There will also be a little Saturday morning cartoon stream where I play a kind of silly game based on a cartoon, and then the end of the stream, the conclusion, will be at least a doubleheader of Mariners baseball, and there will be 2 games of Mariners baseball on Sunday as well. So lots of streams happening over on twitch.tv/Shaunosaurusrex, and I almost forgot to tell you that Paper Mario will continue on Monday, so that'll be part 3 of that series. That game is really good. Thank you so much for watching this week's episode. If you like the content, you can scroll on down and you can hit that subscribe button and then ring the bell so you'll be notified when I post new videos. If you scroll on down a little bit more, you could leave me a comment and you can tell me what you thought of the Frostbite Mountain Dew, or you can let me know what you think of Final Fantasy VII, the original on PlayStation 1, or Final Fantasy VII Remake if you are playing through that. Be sure to check out the streams over on twitch.tv/ShaunosaurusRex. Pretty much every single day of the week, there's going to be a variety of things happening over there, and be sure to check back every Tuesday for more Week in Review right here. We'll see you next week.